welcome back to DreamHack Masters Winter. I'm Frankie Ward. I've got Scorny and Launders with me right now, and we're about to kick things off with Group A. So let's take a look at the bracket, find out who'll be playing who on the way to the playoffs. And take a look at this, please, Connor, for me. Which particular pairings are really jumping out to you here?
Well, right off the gate, I actually really enjoy the FaZe versus Spirit game, but we're going to get into it, so I'm not going to touch on it too much. After that one, I want to see Cloud9 versus Gambit. Gambit coming off of a best-of-5 win yesterday versus Spirit, a team that we know can occasionally contend with the better of the European teams, and Cloud9, who have improved rapidly since we saw their initial showing last week, but also aren't flawless yet. So my eyes on the Colossus.
So, yeah. Don't sleep on Cloud9, basically.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm seeing it the same way. Complexity, they lost yesterday versus Cloud9, so it's a question mark, like how well will they play versus N, so their confidence a little bit low. For Cloud9, it's probably going to be a hard challenge for Alex, who has gotten used to playing against Tier 1 teams already, again, right? So to play against a team that's very promising, when he hasn't spent much time in CS in this last year, while Shiro and Axile have been grinding away, drinking Monster Energy every single day, dumping it on their heads in the dark, grinding Deathmatch for 5 hours a day, it's going to be a huge challenge. They're going to get caught off guard a lot, and there won't be a lot of game plan preparations that could come in to help them out. It's going to be like that Mike Tyson quote, everyone's got a plan until they get hit.
I am absolutely obsessed with Shiro. Literally, do not miss that match, whatever you do. You might think Gambit are underdogs, but they've got some surprises up their sleeves. But before we get into our first matchup of the day, Spirit versus FaZe, it is time to hand the power over to Twitch chat. I talk to DreamHack about this all the time. I'm just like, we're giving too much to Twitch chat. We're giving them so much responsibility. Can they handle it? Well, this is your opportunity to show that you can, because hashtag FaZe if you're thinking FaZe, hashtag Spirit if you're thinking Spirit. This is your opportunity to get that into the Twitch chat and be an analyst. I wish I could side with you, but sadly I have to predict before I hear your results. But I'm going to learn as the week goes on, and we should probably focus on FaZe to kick things off, gents, because this is a team in stasis. They've got no Yanko, they've got no Nico, they've got Olaf back, and they have nothing to lose. So while you might expect the team to fall flat, that hasn't necessarily been the case so far.
Yeah, it's a team that I don't know how long we'll actually get to watch in this exact iteration. We have no idea what the future of this roster holds. We know that they have some infrastructural issues, and so with a lot of moving pieces, perhaps, I don't know where my expectations fall with them. But what I do know is that since we've seen the departure of Nico, individual levels stepping up on some of the players you would hope to see perform. Rain has been the pillar, the absolute core of this team since every single iteration, and he's providing that value yet again. Kierby is starting to improve himself a little bit. And of course, we're touching on this without even looking at coldzera or Brokey, who are absolute stars in and of themselves. I think Olaf, seeing as he didn't touch the game very much while he was gone, to bounce back into this and still be able to hold his own, just goes to prove he is one of the greatest of all time.
It's really a story of nowhere to go but up for FaZe. When Nico was last on the team, coldzera hit an all-time low in performance at the end. Nico did as well. This was a really rough situation for a lot of the players where it seemed like the motivation wasn't there, along with the discipline. They weren't willing to fight through it even though they knew the end was coming. Coming in with a new roster is strange because they're going back to old ways with Olaf. And Olaf, it seemed like, showed them a honeymoon period. 2-0 versus Vitality, that's a big result. But shortly after, have started to have a lot of close losses. And I'm sure Olaf was thinking, man, I was pretty comfortable gaming my IKEA Marcus for the past year, playing single-player games, not thinking about CS at all. Maybe I want to go back to that. Losing is hard. It can take a mental toll on you. And I'm sure he's going to ride it out with them as long as it feels good. But it feels like maybe they can't take too many more losses.
Well, let's hear from Kierby to see what he thinks about FaZe's fortunes going into DreamHack Masters Winter.
We have been working a bit on ourselves, and we're really ready going into our first game against Spirit.
Oh, looking to make this B-side. Home flash goes in, MBK out. And now Valda and Mantu. Up against Mantu and Valda. That is quite the terrifying twosome to be up against. Kierby looking to escape him here. Kierby moving in, back of the site. Oh, Kierby with the triple.
Coming into DreamHack Masters Winter, our expectation is to reach the playoffs. We don't prepare specifically like extra for Team Spirit. They have a really unique playstyle. They play very aggressive, in your head everywhere. But I think no one would be surprised if we ended up winning it either.
He's absolutely right. Spirit do play an incredibly aggressive play style, and yet if their individuals don't show up, like Mir in the finals of DreamHack Open November, they can seriously fall flat. And I know we're kind of looking at FaZe and what they can do as individuals. So therefore, if FaZe all turn up, all 5 of them, surely it's going to be quite simple to squash Spirit.
I think that can carry you through a CT side. If they're very good and trustworthy to hold their own spots, they don't need a lot of help. coldzera will probably get 2 in his positions. Brokey will probably get 2 as a very consistent player. The T sides come into a bit more of a question as coldzera is new to the full-time role. Right, he might get away with some stuff early on as an IGL because he called, you know, 1/2 at a major when he was a younger up-and-coming star, and just now had some recent success. But again, with close losses, you can start to doubt yourself on the T sides.
Can you tell me about Spirit now and Sumdai Young's role in the team? Because it's quite clear with Mir, he's going to be lurking, he's going to be backstabbing, Chopper's going to be pressing W going into those sites. Sumdai Young, I feel like his role has changed since this team was formed.
Yeah, well, I mean, Sumdai Young is the longest standing player on Team Spirit. He was meant to be the star when he was, you know, first kind of surrounded by completely different players. We're talking about a guy who's been on Team Spirit since, I believe, January of 2018. So more than 2 full years now, and he's seen the different iterations around him. There was a time where when they didn't challenge teams as well as they do now, he was that star. You know, he was the player who was absolutely putting up those numbers. It's kind of faded back a little bit because, well, Team Spirit, they've become a bit of a Frankenstein in the CIS region. You know, they pulled and plucked players off of different things. Idis Balance had a good showing once with Cyman Gaming at a Katowice minor, and they instantly robbed him. And then you get Mir and Chopper, and then you add in Magix, an incredibly young player, 16, 17 years old, I believe, like a very formative piece of Team Spirit. So what does SDY do in comparison to the rest of his team? I think he keeps them together.
I saw this metricize a little bit. Idis Balance by a company regarded him as having the best crosshair placement of any pro player. And I'm going to look more into that, but I thought that was interesting. A super sharp opper on the roster. Magix, as you mentioned, he's kind of a Nico of the roster, like maybe the strongest rifler on his own in an individual level. And we talk about Mir a lot because of that consistent mid-round. He's kind of like a Case Serato to me, right? He can come in at the end, he can hold the Cypher too, but he can also be trusted to push off of like Cat on Mirage and play by himself. The team has a lot going for them. What was interesting to me was SDY's interview, where he said, we want to achieve everything in this game together. As you mentioned, a Frankenstein lineup, but they clearly have aspirations to do it as one.
And that's definitely going to give them the edge going into this matchup against FaZe, because they ain't splitting up anytime soon. They all know their individual roles on this team. And so we caught up with Magix to find out more about how it's going.
Going into DreamHack Masters Winter, we have been fixing a few maps that were not enough consistently good for the past few weeks, and now it should be better.
Oh, and Electronics popping off. He's been hunted down by Magix. The wallbang from Simple does level the odds a little bit. 52 HP for Magix. Bombs on Simple's back, and he is heading towards the trophy room where he's faking the steps. Hunting him, and he's found the headshot necessary.
I think FaZe still can show a high level of competition because due to their past results, they won some good teams, and Brokey is playing really well the last few weeks. We're ready to play against FaZe in DreamHack Masters Winter, and we're really going to make a good run there.
Magic's there, yeah, he's only 17, and yet he's performing so well on this roster. Is he the key to success for them?
I think he is. He goes unnoticed a little bit, maybe not like the flashiest rifler, but just such a consistent output. Like, kind of like a Yuri, kind of like a Nico for Heroic, like unbelievably consistent output. And he's the guy who came in to fill in when the team already had enough talent. Like, that's what's bringing Team Spirit closer to the Tier 1.
Are you ready to talk about maps, gentlemen?
I think so.
Oh, good. Because this is a really interesting one for me, because both of these teams veto Vertigo first normally. So surely if they do the 1000 IQ play, none of them are going to veto it until they have to right at the end for the deciding map. And also they love Dust too. So who's going to pick it?
Yeah, well, between the two of them, right? They're two BO3 matchups. We've also had Nuke and Dust 2 in that mix both times. Mirage was the floated one around, and I think maybe we see Mirage again here as well. It's the exact order that I'm not quite sure they're going to come in with, and I think that does kind of predicate on what you said about the Vertigo ban.
So lots of individual play today.
Yeah, I think Vertigo's no question just going to come out first. It'll probably just be the first map banned. right here for FaZe. I don't know if they'll waste any time with that. Okay, sorry, so Spirit goes first, and FaZe get rid of Overpass. Not exactly surprised. This is going to be a very competitive veto, no matter where it lands. It's really hard to guess where they're going to take it. And as Kirby said, he didn't do specific preparation for Team Spirit, so they're going to take it to some very simple maps here. Dust2 comes out first for Spirit, no surprises there, and then FaZe pick Mirage. I think it's just a very strong map for FaZe, and they should be playing to their strengths.
This is really interesting for me because I'm surprised that Spirit didn't veto Nuke straight away because they looked really shaky in DreamHack Open. They used it as an opportunity, in fact, to practice Nuke, and I think they played it against FloScola, whose logo is literally a rainbow with a baked potato in the middle.
Yeah.
And they nearly lost it. They were seriously challenged on it, and their train defensively has loads of holes in it. So they're really, really lucky that FaZe banned that, because if it went to 3 maps, they would be in trouble.
Baked potato is historically very underrated, in which case, you know, fine, get it out of the way. And I think it's just a bit of a middle ground. Inferno, everybody plays it. We always talk about it. And so I think this is just a bit of a gentleman's handshake, gentleman's agreement to go to that 3rd Inferno. And if we get that far in this series, you know, if Spirit can bounce back from their loss just yesterday, then that's the way this one goes.
Yeah, everyone plays Inferno except Polish team Illuminar, it turns out. Right, predictions, gentlemen. Your first of the DreamHack Masters winter, and I'm being told we've got to speed up, so Launders.
FaZe.
FaZe.
I wasn't expecting that. I'm saying FaZe as well.
You have to take Spirit because we just took...
No, Twitch chat are probably going to say Spirit because we've got a huge CIS audience watching. Let's see what they said. I had my first tantrum on the desk, gentlemen. I'm so sorry. You're going to have so much fun working with me. Okay, 75% are also saying FaZe. My God, we're so boring.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, this means they have more fans.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean they're more likely to win, which is fair.
Oh, let me see your Shay Kirby's in chat because we are going to a short break, and when we come back, we're going to be getting into it. Team Spirit versus FaZe Clan.
FaZe Clan gonna have to bring a bit of a fighting spirit if they want to keep this CIS team pinned down to the ground, because I think they're looking for revenge after their loss just yesterday versus Gambit. Spirit, they're hungry, and they've got the pieces to succeed. You said it yourself, Launders. This was a team who brought in Magix because they already had such a stacked roster, and he's meant to make them boil over the brim. But FaZe Clan, so many pieces to talk about, so much talent through and through. I mean, this is a team of legends and legends in the making.
Yes, and we've got a little bit of time to talk about it. So let's recap for people who may have missed in many segments talking about FaZe. It starts with the fact that with Nico leaving, that creates this power vacuum almost on the roster. They need to fill up the spots that Nico plays in. He took every single star player position on the team, and for good reason. Not to say that that's selfish. If FaZe are smart, they're going to put him in all those positions. But now Kirby's in a lot of those positions. Yep. Now Brokey has a little bit more space. Now their Beyond Mirage has magically worked out just by shuffling around a couple of players, even though Nico had nothing to do with it. It's quite interesting what's happened when we look at FaZe and some of their recent performances. But still, even though things started to improve and that the zero-sum game of how much space that you can create has started to work itself out a little bit better for FaZe, they're still losing a lot of their close matches. So the questions for them, they have questions themselves moving into every single match that they play from now on. And this match right here, maybe FaZe are a little bit favored, but this is at best a 40-60 game, if that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Spirit are able to win.
I'm right there with you. I mean, again, even last time these teams met, it was a close affair. FaZe have to be cautious or they are going to have their hands full, especially with that super aggressive play style that Team Spirit are kind of notorious for. If Mir's able to improve on his performance from yesterday, right? If we write off just that one game and get him right back at it, he is the highest rated player for this squad, and for good reason. I think he has a lot of their character. He's a lot of their identity when it comes to aggression, when it comes to firepower. And so Mir is a big piece. you said it. The loss is kind of taking away from FaZe, I think. Yes, there was that power vacuum that almost kind of brought their talent back up into a spike, but with every single loss they experience, I feel like it gets knocked down kind of peg by peg because the struggles, the difficulties, the frustration of not being able to solve this issue within the team as quickly as possible is going to start wearing them down.
No, for sure. And these are intangibles and there's conjecture on our part, but obviously that's just what losses do. And this is a situation where the future with Olaf Meister is up in question. If they perform super well in these next couple months and he's having a lot of fun playing, maybe he decides to say maybe they want to keep him because they've seen there's potential. But if they continue to lose, then it's going to erode away your confidence. It's a natural human thing that's going to happen most likely. And, you know, they are maybe continuing to look for another fifth at the moment. But right now, it's either Olaf stays and they don't know if they'll win, or they're looking for a new fifth. Either way, their future is very much up in the air, and that's going to affect, you know, how much you're going to prepare, what you're thinking about when you come into matches, how much you care about the matches, which is a big thing. Whereas we go over to Sum Dai Young's interview, which was awesome. I love getting those interviews because you just see how much maturity is in some of these players who don't get a lot of camera time. And he talked about how like they really see themselves as a roster that wants to get to the tier 1. They want to achieve everything together. You know, he can visualize himself in a major final. That's what I got from that interview, and that's the exact confidence we needed. Of course, people might be laughing at the thought for Spirit. Oh, they're, you know, maybe some people don't think that they could be consistent tier 1 competition. Obviously, those people are wrong. They can potentially get there. If they can get to the top 1 is another question, but you've got to shoot for the stars. Like, that is the bottom line. And if you don't hear the confidence there, you're not going to see it in the server. You're not going to see the comebacks that need to happen in situations where, you know, FaZe might have a hot CT start on any one of these maps.
I think Spirit's a prime example of the case where if you don't believe in yourself, no one's going to believe in you.
Yeah.
It starts with self-belief. So if Sum Dai Young has that kind of mentality, maturity, and approach to this team, being the longest standing member on top of it as well, they absolutely have some of the individual pieces to go toe-to-toe. If the question is what is the future of FaZe, well, they already have the future of Counter-Strike in guys like Brokey and Kierby. They have legends around them, and maybe one of these legendary pieces eventually goes down. But for now, let's just get into this pistol. Team Spirit on the T side of Dust 2, immediately picking up the opening kill by challenging out long.
That is a very good start. Brokey here, eyes all the way to the backup pit, looking for anybody to cross out, and Spirit are going to take this long control and start to run with it. Olaf is here to challenge, and it's actually a feign. They're going to stop the commitment, look for the double long cross smokes most likely here. But all the while, we've got Kierby who is scouring the B tunnels to make sure there's no lurk. So they're going to be overstaffed on the A site versus this long hit.
Fight back over on ramp. That's Kierby down. coldzera comes from tunnels up catwalk, so already trying to throw that third remaining piece of FaZe Clan into the mix. They're going to have to be leaning back onto their experience in coldzera and Olaf, but it is a 2 versus 5 turned 2v4. Idis balance, he knows he has Cold pinned into this position, but Cold comes out, predicts the shot, and this opens up space for Olaf. But they go aggressive into the elbow, and then they kill Cold. Still, all things considered, 2v5 to a 2 versus 2, and if those CTs hit a couple other shots, that was FaZe robbing the pistol, but instead it's Team Spirit with the first one.
Yeah, that's how it goes. It's not a big deal here for either team. Of course, it's Dust 2. It's a very even map. It's a map they both play again, so no big deal one way or the other, but a strong start, of course, is, again, going to make you feel just a bit more comfortable psychologically. So we'll see what happens now with the bye. It looks like FaZe have called a pause. I don't know if they're going to think about investing here. We've got a stat. 2020 is coldzera's lowest rated year ever, 0.09 lower than 2019, his previous worst.
This goes into the talking point you were mentioning where before NiKo departed, coldzera was at a career low, and we have seen that re-emerge since the departure. So 2020 overall, yes, we watched him descend, but there is an uptick at the current moment.
Absolutely. You can go and check for his like all-time stats. There is an uptick, and what really matters is the recency, right? Those last few matches that he's played, and I think, you know, again, he's a player whose stats did come up as well. Everybody pretty much benefited. It's really just the conversation about, can they make up for the fact that you lose someone like NiKo? That is like the impossible question. Even if everybody gets better, can you replace an all-time, potentially greatest rifler of all time, right? Like, this is a player that's so hard to try to take their place up. But you look at FaZe Clan, and these are all players who could be stars on their own team. So there is that conversation, and we put the pieces together every single day. Every single match we watch, we start to learn a little bit more about whether or not that's possible. But yes, good to see coldzera kind of back in the driver's seat of his own performances. I think stepping up to the challenge is the big thing for him, realizing he has something to prove and wants to really put on strong individual showings.
And knowing that, I think when his inclusion in the team unfolded, a lot of the conversation was, oh my god, coldzera and NiKo are side by side. And now they're not. They don't have that duality to FaZe Clan. Don't get me wrong, we've seen coldzera synergize with a guy like Brokey incredibly well, but there's just a gap in terms of career accomplishments and experience. So is he going to build Brokey up to his level? That's the kind of questions we have to ask as we watch FaZe day by day. Yeah. Inside of middle, Spirit already working through doors.
That's another interesting question, but we are almost into the action here. As coldzera is going to take a peek on the mid doors. Mir will clear him out, grab that kill, potentially could fall back. He'll actually take a further fight into CT spawn. Brokey's down to just a few HP. 4-on-4 situation. The CTs are starting to migrate over towards B.
BRB's going to play that close corner, CZ in hand. And the scout shot's fantastic from Brokey. He nails another one, and he's just cutting down everybody as they tried to exit out from tunnels. Okay. He gets himself 2 kills plus impact on a third. FaZe Clan's force buy works out wonderfully.
Well, that's how it goes. They're not scared of going and trying to seek out information wherever they can find it. Of course, when they have pistols, they're going to be even more curious. Just want to mention with Brokey, they absolutely struck gold with this kid, right? Like, he is somebody who didn't need any coaching, basically. And I want to say that because the other talent they brought in, they failed to develop. I want to believe that Brokey just found himself and carved out a place on the team and made them believe that they could just pick up someone else and then he'd be just as good as Brokey. BMAS is like the perfect example of that. But BMAS is clearly somebody who needed a little bit more support, and it didn't feel like it was there with FaZe. But it just goes to show again, like, Brokey is a 1 in a million player and has done so much in just his rookie year alone.
To further your point, I think the prime example, BMAS, as you just said, pushing him into most sports where you know he has more structure with the likes of Kerrigan, and he has been working out well for them. So you take that same piece of the puzzle, but you fit it in a different spot. It's the surroundings that build them up. But dead on. Brokey kind of feels like more of an individual piece. And he's so well-rounded. Talented off rifle, pistols. Speaking of which, Chopper finding the head of Cold. Kirby is going to be relegated to the back plat of B. And the questions are, can FaZe rotate over? Will FaZe rotate over through mid? Kirby, back plat, good for a second kill. Goes for that continuation spray down. And it's poor Magix to sit on 22 HP. 30 seconds on the clock. SDY is unable to keep more players from barreling into the B site, but those Desert Eagles are dealing out the damage. Unfortunately for Spirit, it is just SDY left. And, well, he is now tagged to 48.
Yeah, they give it their best try. They try to work out mid to crush the split, but FaZe handle it. Again, they're going to be very strong on the CT side, especially here on Dust 2. It'll be a hard nut to crack for sure for Spirit. But just as Kirby said, they've got a very unique style on the T side, and they can be very hard to prepare for that reason, with the different modes of aggression that they have and how they allow their individuals to make a lot of moves. And it kind of feels like without telling other people. So we'll see now if Spirit can at least get some economic damage here in round 4. FaZe Clan already probably feeling a little bit more comfortable to have first converted an eco and then survive the ante.
Getting right back to where they were off of the start of the pistol. My eyes is definitely peeled to kind of long A. I want to see whether Team Spirit get incredibly aggressive, pound their way out of it. Obviously, they're not going to attempt it until they've got some legitimate guns. coldzera going to eat a flash down to 50 pretty quickly. Has Rain just by him as well, so there is that crossfire towards middle in case Spirit extend into it. Now, of course, they have no more utility. That was one of their very few flashbangs.
Yeah, based on the setup, of course, there is an opening here where they could potentially punish off of Cat Brokey. It comes down to whether or not he misses a shot. You know he's always good for one. Molly will come down in good time. This will push the T's back, maybe make them change their course of action. Sometimes an incendiary like this, it doesn't do damage, right? But it influences the course of the round. However, it looks like they're going to go for the re-aggression, and Brokey has eyes trained on this angle.
Gonna run boost one and go for the peek at the same time. That is enough to get Brokey tagged to 16. Further damage into Rain. Kills start to come in. It's Rain with 3. And finally, Brokey's gonna land 1 shot. But an easy anti-eco for Rain on the CT cross. Just tapping it, controlled bursts, keeping Spirit both low and pinned into position. Really gave time for Brokey to recover.
All right, so we're going to take a look at this again. Obviously, the key here is to try to make as much progress as possible. If you have a continuation flash or two, great. Turn that corner, try to get the cap plant, but Brokey, he doesn't die even though he gets dinked, and then he continues to have impact because he doesn't play scared. So Team Spirit looking to put a lot of pressure down mid as they actually turn their attention quickly towards Cat, and they throw this smoke down on the left side of mid to deny vision from Rain, so he cannot rotate comfortably. Sorry, coldzera who's standing here. But off of this, they don't actually make a play. They're still sitting back, I think, in spawn with some of those mid nades to try to suss out a pick. But after that smoke dissipates, there will be no CTs standing behind the mid doors, just close to them. And I mean just in line of sight from spawn, of course.
I disbalance, chucks bomb over, frees himself up. KRB still for a smoke onto tunnels if he feels like he needs to lend a hand here in mid. He just threw a flash out from the window. Both players going for the peek. I love this. Mir, he had gotten into that little mid cubby, and even though FaZe go for the double peek off of KRB's flashbang, it was Mir tucked in that could technically counter flash, and he delivers. But Olaf out from top middle as KRB gets a kill over on the B site. It's actually the flanker to go down, so KRB, kill after kill from Team Spirit, is feeling more and more stranded. He decides to evacuate the site, go down into Magix. That's a big pickup, but can he turn it around as they go for the cross? KRB absolutely delivering. He's got 3 kills in the round.
Oh my
God. Is Brokey going to chance the clutch?
It looked like there might be a challenge there. There won't, however, and Brokey, he maybe doesn't realize how low on HP they are. Okay, he's running up with the Deagle, lots of time to spare. They give him the keys to the round. He'll upgrade to an AK. I'd call it an upgrade because the 1v2, much more of a comfortable weapon to use. And he definitely looks like he's just going to Hail Mary this. Eats a very powerful grenade though on his way in. Okay, and he'll just end up dying. That's a wrap. This is a good round from Spirit. They work out. We look at Kirby pulling the goalie on the B site. He both knows that they're going to enter B after he gets a kill at mid, but also realizes that that's also his best chance of being able to pull this round back. First of all, he shuts down mid, which allows his team to rotate over from A safely, and then they can play the 2v2 retake, which, yes, it's a bit of a scary situation to have to do a B retake on Dust 2, but honestly, people are getting a little bit better at it, and when it's low numbers like that, it makes a bit more sense.
Numbers on long, coming out of FaZe Clan. 3 players here immediately. Going to try and tuck that one compromised buy in Olaf CZ to the doorway. Now that they've got that, they fall back. Smoke will fade. Olaf does have another one, so this same setup can burn more time off of the clock. Mir goes for the peek with the flash through mid, sees nothing, but that could be false confidence. coldzera, he gets hit by the smoke.
This is going to
excellent.
Both be information and scare them, yeah, because he can also play around it. And again, just denying these early info plays by Team Spirit, making them waste a lot of grenades. And iDisbalance hasn't been set up for kills here in a way that's actually resulted in any. He's trying to control mid with this powerful line of sight. But look at Brokey being a lot more proactive. He'll peek off of Cat, but this time he'll fall back. Smoke is coming up in his face. Rain, how will he play this? Sometimes he'll walk down the catwalk in front of this smoke. But of course, anywhere out here just means he's ready to fight. Maybe he'll wait for a second smoke to come. We'll see if he makes that play. Yes, he's starting to now creep up towards it. This is just the meta at the moment. And I don't know if he'll get flashed through or if he'll just sit and hold. But look at mid.
Cold's turn to deliver. 2 kills on his own. KRB, ooh, wrecked by SDY. That's a big one because it wasn't necessarily the crossfire. A little bit further back was KRB, and that gives just enough time for SDY. iDisbalance off in middle, gonna miss that first flick. Tag to 29. He now confirms 2 players in position, but 7 seconds on the clock. If Olaf runs in and stops bomb, this is over, but the plant still happens. Magix over by the car facing placing 2 CTs. Can he get them both? Absolutely. And Rain's coming in with a quick flank for the first one. Bomb site not occupied by Spirit. He could tap it, or he peeks. And Idis Balance, tucked behind box, takes the round for Spirit.
Oh my god, that's such an awkward situation when they get into the site. Olaf, I think he looked at his teammate to see if he had vision over top of the smoke by the door, but his teammate did not, and then he peeked awkwardly out to the left. His teammate dies in the 1v1, which is more of a 50-50 at this point. These are the 2 kills, and you can see he's abusing the fact that smoke is plumed in his direction. That's a round FaZe definitely had wrapped up, and it started with a very, very nice kill from Team Spirit out to the left side of mid to force that retake situation. But you could also say Idis Balance should have grabbed his shot early on as well. Either one would have changed the course of history. The one we reside on, however, is the one where FaZe Clan now have to stay.
Challenge on long. Just the USPs, but it takes a player down. Only member of Spirit with real utility is Idis Balance. He is now with the bomb, joining them on this A site. They're going up for the stack, and Magix calls this out. We talked about him in the pregame. Mentioned how he can kind of be that X factor, can be a win condition, and he absolutely was on that B site just a round ago. Dismantling just the USPs, made easy. 4 players standing for Spirit as they have 4 on the board as well.
Yeah, we'll look back on that round to really show us what this half looked like. If that small mistake by FaZe means that there's a save to follow and then Team Spirit get a little bit more comfortable, take a lead, that could be very meaningful. But that being said, FaZe Clan, they're back on a full-fledged buy. They don't have an op to fall back on this round, and we'll see if that makes a world of difference. I really believe that Brokey, as good as he is and as much praise as I have for him, can play just as well with the rifle as he can with an op.
Yeah, that well-roundedness, definitely one of his values. For what it's worth, sick pistol player too. KRB alone on the B site, gonna get peeked out by SDY. Narrow angle. FaZe Clan, man advantage. Rain peeks into middle, eats a flash, but as Mir's playing with his Molotov, it's coldzera to help out Rain. The potential for that double extension off CT spawn. Good map control here from FaZe, not really offering over any openings to Spirit. Maybe Chopper can cut one down on the long doors. Olaf, he is tucked within it. Easy shadow advantage, so he knows exactly what to expect. And it's a labored spray that leaves both players low, and Magic's nearly in position to punish this. But Idis Balance did pick up a frag through middle. That means we now have Rain taken out of this. Olaf barely alive after that spam damage both ways. And the bomb carrier itself has come onto Catwalk. So think, Olaf, very low on long, leave him to his own devices. The only challenge is truly Brokey for the moment. FaZe, they can go for that retake, but Spirit will face that problem if they need to. For now, it is find the frag versus Brokey, and he's doing a great job of just staying tucked beneath this box. Magix on his own extends into elbow, and he gets caught with bomb drop. This one looks dire. Idis Balance, back on mid. Yes, Chopper gets that kill towards Pit, but how does he get out of there now that he's the player with sub 10 HP? It's all on Idis Balance, and there's just so little time, so FaZe Clan clear the board once Spirit gets stranded in multiple parts of the map.
It's actually such a nice move by Brokey. He sits on default, and typically that's where the first set of grenades will go. But most people with long control are not going to sit on default because of the cap presence that can come in. So normally, naturally, you'd be on the ramp, or you'd be at Goose or something like that. And that's where the first 2 Molotovs from Team Spirit go. But of course, Brokey, he's challenging the meta by playing in a spot where you normally would not. And that ends up meaning that he gets the kill on the elbow and stays alive for the rest of the round as well.
Very little presence shown anywhere. Sensors going off to this tunnels play as Brokey finds the opper. That was just a straight up duel.
Yeah, Idis Balance hasn't had incredible impact so far. Missing a couple of shots here and there. This damage on Mir is worth more than the damage on Brokey. However, immediately the op goes into Mir's hands for that reason. Looks like eyes press forward here on Cat for Team Spirit. But will they commit off of it? They've really been taking their time.
Rain pulling a Brokey from the last round, just staying pinned in sight. Does not want to die to the AK of Chopper. Smoke grenade goes down. Bit of a missed one, if I'm not mistaken. Ooh.
Oh, this will be unlikely to be cleared. coldzera looks like he's going off of a peek. Will he turn into a spray transfer? That's the first and second kill. Magisk and Mir will actually answer back, which means this is now a 2-on-2 situation. Desperate for HP, Magisk eats a nade, and Olaf is here to try to pounce on him, but he's got high ground advantage. There's a chance that he catches Olaf off guard. He's got to be careful.
Lesser weapon, but a good flashbang. But the CT's flash comes just beyond that of the terrorist. And Mir, well, he's going to land that op shot, dodges the frag grenade. Brokey, sidearm out, hits the headshot. Magix with the Galil by the barrels. Now he knows he's in the open. And Magix is going to tuck back by Goose. Molly at his feet forces him right back to where Brokey wants him. But Magix doesn't go down for free. Team Spirit find their 5th, and now they have a lead.
And that's exactly why we talk about Magix. Like, that is exact for that reason. Like, 20 HP, definitely could have died at a number of points in this round, but stayed alive and wins the 1v1, and you love to see what you see from Brokey there. That's why he passes the eye test every single time. He read the situation perfectly, held onto his incendiary, knew when to pull his pistol out, zoned Magix into peeking wide on long, and then tried to punish him. But again, that aim for Magix is so crisp.
Leaves FaZe in an awful position, just that P250. Big pickup from Spirit. There's a chance that FaZe just come peeking over top of the cat ledge, but those two players now fall back. And Spirit, well, they're just going to magnetize themselves into that very same map control.
Should be a freebie. Spirit have done well so far.
That they have.
They're working themselves out of a couple of bad situations with strong early starts from FaZe Clan. They should be feeling quite proud of themselves, honestly, to have a lead so far here on the T side after what looked like FaZe were going to start to walk away with things. But an opening kill for Rain will bring in the doubt. And Team Spirit look to, once again, think about a cat exec. It's their favorite thing to do.
Good flank by Rain. It's a matter of timing, but Nidus balance starting to tip this one in the scales of Spirit. Pistols, however, working out for 2 kills. Kierby and Brokey both with one of their own, but it's SDY, 3 kills from behind as FaZe tried to challenge that catwalk.
SDY, and the S stands for Sanitation Engineer.
Oh, because he cleans them all up.
Yeah, he cleans them all up. He's a cleanup crew.
I respect his decision to abbreviate Some Die Young. The OGs are going to remember him for what he always was, but it is definitely easier on the eyes.
That's a fact.
Good name, though.
Hmm? I mean, my favorite thing is when Tom says SDY, some die young, and when he has a lot of deaths, some die a lot.
Tom Biz. The toxic bald is what I think Frankie labeled him.
Yeah, that was funny. I think he traded his hair to be hilarious.
He wouldn't be as funny if he had hair.
No way.
That much I know for sure. Love hearing him and Vince. That's over on the B stream. Tons of Counter-Strike action for DreamHack Masters Winter. Your mom bought you 2 monitors for a reason.
Yeah, so you could play Agario while you watch Counter-Strike.
Rain's going to get flashed off this initial CT position. And you know what? I feel like Team Spirit, even if they go cat, even if they double back through tunnels, they always do enough of at least poking through the door. Clear some corners, fall back. Sometimes there's a commitment when they work the split, but they're always prodding FaZe Clan, trying to isolate that kill, kind of shave off a bit of the cross barrier. But we've seen Kierby in this exact same position perform with a couple kills, and wow, look at that damage, massive. Oh. It's going to prime coldzera to probably add a couple to the scoreboard. Yep, sure enough. But Idis balance, even though he lands that op shot in middle, still dies out to Rain.
Watch Spirit win another close shave. Here's Olaf. Oh, he's made some noise. Okay, he'll actually get the kill. Damage into him, but this leaves some Young in a 1v3. 10 seconds left. He's not going to be able to fake plant it again, and he probably won't be able to get a plant at all. He'll push out now. Oh my goodness gracious. A chance to get a second, but not a situation where he could have fallen back and got a plant. As we can see where the time freezes, he would have been out of time based on the animation. So a real Hail Mary effort. But I definitely believe he loses there if he just sticks the plant anyway.
Yeah, agreed. He would have had to get that nasty flick shot onto the door player and then had hope that the guy bottom mid, who technically could have been in line of sight, maybe thinks 3v1 traded or something along that. But the Sharks and Recreation. When Vegas Squadron famously took down FaZe in the E-League major qualifier, Chopper and Mir combined for 41 kills in 22 rounds. Chopper and Mir from Vegas Squadron. I think that is, you know, I called this team like a Frankenstein of the CIS region.
Yeah.
And Vegas Squadron, the MAC 10 aggression that they kind of stuck their names on first and foremost.
Was this Boot Squadron?
Boot Squadron? No, sir.
No.
Nope.
Okay. Which was the Boot team?
Boot Dreamscape, I think, something like that.
Dreamscape? Oh, okay.
Something along those lines.
That forced that Vince, he had to eat the boot.
Eat the boot.
Eat the boot. Okay.
Oh, wait. In that case, yeah, it is. Sorry, I thought you were talking about a different team.
I was going through the reference, a little bit subtle.
Yeah.
It's okay.
We were just talking about Vince.
Yes.
He never ate that boot.
No, he did. He took some forfeits. Most recently eating Carolina Reaper peanuts because Dust had to eat fish heads or something. I didn't watch that, but the title got me.
I thought Dust did that by choice.
It could have been, he was just happy to film it. He had to pretend to be upset, really. Well, okay. Again, another look at the game plan for Spirit is like, I guess they believe that Cat's always going to be open, so why not take it? Wink in the eye, it's free real estate.
Run boosting one to test Rain, but he actually just looked away from it, so suddenly those bullets whizzing by his head. He underhands the smoke grenade, throws the incendiary deep, and then takes to the top of his smoke. I like this. Rain trying to find vision, and he even body bags eye disbalance from behind the elbow boxes. Some die young, just this pistol, and 45 seconds. His bomb is dropped, but Chopper's flank. Oh, he's got to nail this. It's a little bit labored in the end, and it costs him so much HP. He could have quickly taken that back. He runs into the open, offers himself to Olaf. He says, I know I can't win this.
Yeah, I don't know. Olaf, he had... I guess it was kind of funny that Olaf just stood there anyway.
Yeah.
It's just like actually the 5D play. They thought it'd be a free gun to grab. All right, well, it's 6-6. Oh, who's this mystery man? I think that was Kirby.
Somebody's
Of all the players, his lighting is usually pretty decent.
Normally.
I'd say. I think it looked like the monitor flicked off there. That was providing a lot of the good lighting. All right, Chopper's going to run down mid. He's got a Deagle in hand and a Grudge.
Roki's MP9 is up, and Chopper got to play that whack-a-mole. Whoop.
Okay.
Gets there in the end.
Not enough ammo.
It's the bomb carrier, of course, on the corner of Cat. Eats a bit of grenade damage. MP9 exchanges hands. They're a little upset that they got a kill, and that's all he offered over.
Mm-hmm.
A weaselly MP9.
All I got was this MP9 and a T-shirt, they said. Disbalance. What can he do with that? You know Rain is going to be happy to aim map for you.
Hands down.
He is a flex player on the CT side of Dust 2. You'll find him in mid. You'll find him on A. Find him at long. Kind of fills in and does a great job of doing it. He's always there when you need him to refrag. Kerrigan cited him as the best refragger he's ever played with. High praise.
Certainly.
If you die, he goes down too, but most of the time, he just gets the kill. I think the only issue with Rain is himself. When he's not feeling it, his stats show. But seems like the motivation's been pretty high recently. Some outstanding performances recently.
Throws his flashbang incredibly high up. Chopper, gonna get that Deagle headshot. Olaf, gonna be tested from long. P250's gonna best him. And with just the pistols, they find themselves the post plant.
Yeah, no way that just happens. Okay, hold on. They've got the long flank at least coming out. And Cold Zera here to try to check a flank while his teammate gets into position. What are the odds here that they can win this? Flash does nothing except hold Magic's crosshair forward. That's important.
Oh! That I want to see.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's why we talked up Magic so much in the pregame segment. He gets these unbelievable kills sometimes. He can keep up with any of these players on the server. Incredible talent. That actually could have been a very successful retake with the long player dead. That's the hardest player to kill in this spot. 2 players would have been on site. They have the weapons advantage. They had HP for a minute.
So Deagle kill catching Brokey.
This one is,
wow.
That's insane.
We didn't
and
get
for it to be just the drive-by, like he didn't even slow down. He just drove through the stop sign. He wanted to shoot. He didn't respect the stop sign. He was supposed to shoot, get full accurate. No. He just ran across to elbow and hit that ridiculous shot. Oh.
High disbalance now. He's feeling it.
Two through the door. Maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe it was a rolling stop. Of course, he could have been very quick to hit the opposite direction. Stopped on a dime, hit that deagle. Either way, man. That was just such an easy round, I'd say. We look back on this half, there's so many situations like that. It feels like FaZe are totally fine. Team spirit, wait. They create a tenuous moment out of nothing. They make FaZe incredibly uncomfortable by being patient. And then suddenly, this a really wacky kill comes out, and they're able to tumble on and win the round.
They've tumbled far more than once. A bunch of dudes rolling around on a gymnastics mat. Taking rounds away from FaZe Clan. No easy task. They've got that one-round edge. Oh, Olaf! 2 Desert Eagle headshots before Team Spirit stabilized rather quickly. But remember, coldzera, he was coming in as the raid boss. That armored M4 from the get-go is now put in a good enough position to where they could justify the retake. We are almost in the exact same position as last round's 2v2 post-plant, but instead of Magic's being in pit, it's iDie's disbalance right here. He gets the kill easy. coldzera's gonna come around that corner, looking for the player on site first and foremost, being challenged by ramp, being distracted by it, and giving iDisbalance a chance for a third. Good recovery from Team Spirit, because Olaf almost robbed it.
There are 2 O's in Olaf, and those were both mouth openers right there. These 2 deagle shots, I think we'll probably take a look at them again. But this is actually a situation where it's also 2v2. It's a very winnable spot. They come out for the retake, and they get caught off guard again. Like, it feels like they just have no chance of winning when it comes to a 2v2, which is very much unlike FaZe, and very much unlike their Does 2. I can't put a finger on it. Like, is there a bit of luck here? Is there a bit of magic with Team Spirit in these moments? Are they catching timings consistently? Are they creating these timing windows? Because I can't actually reason how they're creating some of these windows, but it feels like they're being granted them.
Opening op kill versus Rain. Even despite that scout success from Brokey, Mir's still standing. Obviously nothing over in the tunnels, nothing on catwalk. FaZe very much on high alert. This should be the long play, but actually I say that and they just scattered back. I feel like coldzera was maybe a little bit scared about the tunnels until he fully confirmed it. One of the 2 smokes from FaZe has just been thrown. They're going to keep one on Kierby with a couple of flashbangs as well to try and work this retake. Scout to the top of the boost. Hits the guy in Goose. Chopper now incredibly low. And Kierby picked up a headshot in the meanwhile. So if they could only get going on catwalk, but there's a huge flank coming out from Mir. Easy 3-piece is what he thought he had, but Brokey turns it on its head. It's still the even man advantage. But what's going to happen with time beyond the halfway point? It's SDY with a headshot off the AK, and yeah, CTs, once they really kind of forced the issue, well, it all got shut down.
Tone of voice you're using there. resentment flowing down the line. I can't stand when you are not near. We can sort it out when you're here. Face to face. Let's talk about it. Face to face. Let's talk about it. Face to face. Let's talk about it. Face to face. And I really need to talk to you, girl. And we really need to make this happen. And I really need to talk to you, girl. Face to face. Let's talk about it. Face to face. Let's talk about it. Face to face. Let's talk about it. And I really need to talk to you, girl. Let's talk about it. Face to face. Whoa. And I really need to talk to you, girl. Let's talk about it. Face to face. Let's talk. And I really need to talk to you, girl.
And jumping back into the second half here, FaZe Clan trailing by 3. Given a chance in the second pistol, we had some wishy-washy rounds, bro.
This is probably the worst I've seen FaZe play. I'm going to say that right now. Since they've picked the new lineup up, they look off, way off, okay? And I honestly had nothing but praise post-Nico in a lot of their matches, even some of their close losses. They looked like there was more cohesion. They looked more comfortable. I don't think this is a matchup. There is some history here. I expected a little bit more. It feels uncomfortable. It could be just a warm-up period. We're into the second half. It's not a terrible start, but this half looked like it was supposed to be a 10-5 for FaZe based on some of the rounds we saw.
Magic's going to find an opening headshot, so if Team Spirit want to use this CT side of their map pick to end quick, maybe it's Magic to deliver first, but he loses his support in IDIS balance. Mir going to claw one from the middle doors. They hang on to that slight edge, but look at this. Team Spirit wanting to keep up the pressure here. They know they have Olaf pinned into this side of the top mid, but Cold, he comes back to maybe alleviate some pressure. And all the while, of course, we did see Magix catch that kill who was chasing him up catwalk. Mir gonna find another one to the tally. This is FaZe Clan falling apart in the second pistol. Spirit to double digits first.
Another one. It's like, where did that one go? They had a good start. It was very close, but then they just get melted down. Okay, what's the buy going to be now for FaZe Clan into the second round? They won the first pistol. They actually lost the first pistol and converted, and that's where it looked like, okay, all right, they're here to game. But this time around, they just straight up lose it. 4 rounds is not too much to come back from, especially not on Dust 2, but they won't give themselves high odds to win this round specifically. Lots of tags coming out versus players who have Glocks and no armor, and we've already got a casualty.
Mir dies to the M4A1S. Kierby gonna find some kind of an answer, but I mean, it's Glocks with no health. Chopper, easy 2K to end it. And 11th for Team Spirit. You know, we said that 3-round lead at the start of it wasn't too much, but from 3 to 5 immediately. And now FaZe Clan's first buy. This better, for their sake, take it back.
All right, let's talk shop. What's going to be the buy here for FaZe Clan, and what's going to be the opening strategy? Brokey, one of my few criticisms, there aren't many, is just that he can be quite passive on the T side. Dust 2 lends itself to a lot of openings if you want to go and find them, but he usually plays with his pack with his op, doesn't take a lot of liberties in peeking things, and is kind of a very good refragger. Kind of plays a lot like Chris J does over on the Mouse Sports. The rounds aren't built around him. He's just there to contribute. But is that what will help them? I'm not going to say that's not what they need, because this is the identity of FaZe Clan. He doesn't do that accidentally. But will it work is the question. IDIS balance. Here's a player who can really kind of take control of a round as soon as he has an op in his hands. And he looked a bit off at the beginning of the game, but he's starting to look a little bit more sharp now that the rounds have rolled on.
Of course, still working with the lesser weapon for now. That scout positioned over on cross. So if FaZe commit to this cap play, as it looks like they are slowly working towards, we'll have to see if he can handle it, despite them being better equipped. It's also a glass cannon for Brokey, so if he gets into pit and it's a post plant, maybe he's fine. But right now, he's going to have a face full of magics. The fire, it ticks the feet, so he is on high alert. He absolutely anticipates someone, but coldzera, he gets the kill versus both of these long players from Spirit. Mir from B to mid, trying to stave off what is this split. Kierby and Olaf tagged by that frag grenade, but Chopper falls back into spawn. And then Mir finds it on Cat. This compromises the plant a bit. It is going to be in the long eyes of Brokey. Remember, he doesn't have armor, so he really doesn't want to extend into any of the fights he doesn't have to. Kierby looking to take players down before it's all on the Opper, who isn't even in pit, but rather on the corner. Kierby able to get that first headshot. Brokey hoping to section them off, but it's verticality for Team Spirit. And now they have him stranded in the open, but he still hits the first one. Mir trying to stick it. Brokey needs to jump up, but he won't. So Spirit doubling the rounds of FaZe now, and Brokey's hanging on. He will move that up forward.
Oh, there's so much to unpack there. What an incredibly awkward situation for Brokey in the 1v2. It shouldn't have got that close. Another position where FaZe are in a powerful spot after the refrags from coldzera. He comes out of long. He figures out when this timing will come where a nade is getting thrown into long doors. He peeks out. He gets the miraculous frag. They get into a powerful spot, but the bomb is planted like half for Cat, half for long. Brokey doesn't realize he could go back plat and fight it, and instead has to go for some jumping kill. There's no reason for him to rush around the corner in that situation because there was no time for him to get there. He had to assume it was going to be a fake. The round was lost before that 1v1 started.
FaZe Clan in a very dire strait at the moment. Half of the round count. CT side from Spirit looks solid. It's early days, but I mean, let's be real, everybody. There is a red flag. Mir, he's not going to hesitate whatsoever. We've got coldzera still kind of leaving T-spawn, just hoping that somebody pushes up middle, but if he doesn't check his back at all, you'd think he falls victim to this. There's a world where maybe Mir makes sound, falls into suicide, gives this flank away, but he's going to play this perfectly. coldzera's lucky if he doesn't get stabbed in the back.
Oh, he can kill time off the clock. It's all CT favored, so is he going to turn this into a knife? My God. That is ruthless.
And then SDY peeks out from the smoke. But there is a way back for FaZe off of that. However, remember, their flank is so exposed. And Magix, I love this position, playing even over top of that T-smoke. Oh, there's a player on the car trying to counter it with an op, but of course, Mir comes in from his flank and gets himself an additional 2 kills. That is money for Mir.
They just have no ferocity. Like, this long hit falls apart before they even cross the corner of the site. With their smokes up, they can't commit. Of course, it's going to scare you to your core when you realize that your player who's going to be sitting back playing for clutch, who's supposed to be last to die, gets flanked and knifed back in spawn. That makes you wonder how much map control has been taken, and that's going to affect you when you're running up long, realizing you're probably running into an overstacked site. But from what we saw, there was still a great chance there for FaZe to hold. But the FaZe that we're seeing right now, they look incredibly uncomfortable, and it feels like they're beating themselves.
Balance watching the slight gap. T's working up to Cat. They're going to be met by a smoke grenade and Rain. He tries to extend right through it, but Chopper, that's an easy cut down. Balance with a frag grenade in the mix. This is ridiculous from Spirit.
And at a certain point, you can contextualize all the losses. You can say, wow, this is actually a game that maybe FaZe Clan could have had a lead in if they didn't make their own mistakes, small mistakes, over time throughout both halves. But at this point, now the game changes a little bit. Spirit, they have supreme confidence. They've worked their way out of situations they weren't supposed to win. They've gotten rounds in a row. They won the second pistol. It's 14-6. It's their game to lose. They could get away with anything they want and take as many risks as they want, and FaZe could still lose. They will have to play a flawless T-half in a way that we haven't seen them play thus far this match. Watch this hint smoke. Oh, he'll drop it. Okay.
Mohan, they'd have to play a T-half that we haven't seen thus far this month.
Right. This is definitely not FaZe at their best, even with this lineup. They could definitely be a lot better than this. This is surprising, but of course, you have to credit Spirit for pouncing on the opportunity. They are looking very good themselves. And there's Mirror playing with that confidence. Now, the flank is coming in on Mirror. He's surely going to die. Olaf will eventually hunt him down. And 3 players converge on mid. The Bermuda Triangle. However, it gets picked apart on one stem. coldzera will refrag, but this allows Magics to now go for this maybe ultimate flank. He's going to clear out mid so the CT can rotate through. It's going to be a 2v2 retake, but he's going to quickly get tunnels control potentially as the bomb comes in second, and they're just going to double up on this path. Pretty 50-50 situation if you ask me. It comes down to eye disbalance with this op.
Let's see it. coldzera is going to hold a bit more of a passive angle. Molotov lands in the middle. Yeah, not ideal. They use their flashbangs with it. Magic's trying to clear out Carr, will be given the 1v1, but Olaf finds the better of him, and eye disbalance. Scoped in. Knows there's a player here to his right. Cold should absolutely wide swing right here, and he will. Jumps up onto the ledge, finds the headshot, gives FaZe Clan a 7th, gives them a way out of this, but it has to be a flawless run if they want this win in regulation.
Yeah, of course, they've got money to work with here, so they'll just buy into the same round exactly as it was. They'll try to get into the mid-round like we saw them just do, and give themselves another go of it. FaZe Clan only winning with 1 player means that their money's going to be kept perpetually low, looking for a strong victory, not just a narrow one. Eye disbalance will get tagged leaving long. Not quite good enough here, though, for FaZe. That's just some damage on an Opper. Okay, Chopper will go down. Now we're starting to get rolling.
The door is now ajar and continues to open thanks to rain. Frag grenade off the middle. Tidbit of damage there versus Kierby, but look at this evacuation from Spirit. They forfeit an 8th round to FaZe Clan. Rain winning this one.
The story at this point is all about FaZe waking up, right? Again, beating themselves. Definitely good enough. Definitely a map they're comfortable on. Definitely a team they can beat. It's just about how late it's gotten with so many failures. So this is going to be a save. They're going to hang this over FaZe's head. Just let them know next round you cannot just play this like it's an eco. You know an op is still up that you tagged early on in the round, and there's even potential for a force up from Spirit. So FaZe, how much do they want to hunt? Again, because of how costly it was last round, it might not be fun for either team to try to get exit kills. They maybe go for some safe ones, but again, there's this op they've got to think about.
They can save both the snipers as well. That absolutely opens up Spirit to win the next one, but
oh, they got the op down.
Yep, he finds the head over top of the smoke. A little bit of desperation to close it. It's still 2 players to save. It's only 1 of the 2 ops kept.
Yeah, they got the op on eye disbalance. That's the big one. So even if they don't buy it, it really changes the makeup of the round from the T perspective. You have to assume that anything can be peaked. You might be more encouraged to go for a full exec. You might be less encouraged to look for information before you make a commitment. All these things can be of to benefit to you on the CT side. And this is where eye disbalance is going to try to look for as many opportunities to kill as possible. Kirby with a good flash can avoid 2 targets and take a shot. Sumdai Young, the man who keeps onto the op this time around, will come back for more at mid. But look at this. He's already made a decision to rotate over towards A. FaZe making a very pragmatic adjustment here in hitting the site where the op has been avoiding.
Kirby, good headshot. Sumdai Young will find Brokey, though. That drops the bomb. And Cold, he doesn't clear the corner. A crucial error being made on long, but the bomb has been recovered. It's Magic's with the AK, M4 for Mir, and the possibility of splitting this from both Cat and Long. Is Magic's going to come into this play before Mir engages?
Oh, he's going to see that elbow push. That's something.
Flubbed flash.
Did he notice it?
He throws another one. Also misses the mark. Kierby wins the duel because of it. Kierby on with the 4K. Could genuinely walk away with the ace if Olaf needs his help. You can see both players playing counter flashes. He just tries to crawl into the corner. Even if Olaf dies, the way Kierby's playing this is as if he has retreated towards Catwalk with the bomb planted for him, but he was just making sure nobody saw him sneak into that box.
Definitely.
So Magic's walks away. A hell of a round from Team Spirit, but not enough to put that nail in the coffin. FaZe have managed to get up to 9.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible to do that. The op, the USPs, They have Young does a fantastic job of getting those kills. He's at both mid looking to go B, suddenly teleports over to the A site, gets a kill, and here's Kirby with an incredible performance on this round alone, just to dig him out of all of these different spots. He could have lost the duel to Mir, he could have let the op stay alive in CT spawn. They needed each of those kills to feel a little bit more comfortable. The 2v1 was relatively unwinnable, as you described, with Kirby falling back to elbow and Olaf fighting from the site in a way that didn't really have that much impact, but okay, now we're into the next, and oh no, there's no trade out for Mir. Do you want to let his recoil reset? He's going to cross the door, get shot through it. Kirby, amazing from him, and a shot is missed onto him through the door, but Young, he's pulled the goalie over on the B site, running out to mid and getting a kill inside of B. Or potentially getting a kill inside of B. Oh my god,
okay,
I just balanced.
I thought somehow Young picked that one up, but excellent cover from the Opper. Over to the box, goes cold. And this is sick from SDY. Pulling it out from the B site down into middle, and then trying to get back into B as quick as he could, because you saw Olaf closing that distance, challenging from tunnels with the bomb carrier in tow. And maybe it's Balance who saves the day with this shot.
Oh my god. I mean, he's barely holding for the right side of that door. The reaction time is pretty sick there. And the preparedness. Sometimes you hold the spot like that, but you're still kind of asleep. You're like, the opportunity's not actually going to come. You miss the shot. This is about Young's rotations, man. His refragging. Wanted to talk about Rain on the CT side. Young has been there when they needed them the most. This is 15 rounds now to the 9 of FaZe. It's starting to feel a little bit more competitive, of course. But again, it's just a question of, is it too late? Magix is here back on the A site. They're holding on to cat control, but they're also thinking about this tunnels push, which could mean the world. I think the next most important fight here is versus this player on the lower stairs. Young knows he needs to get info. And look, they molly out the lower tunnel. This is very interesting.
Turns the attention of Cold back towards top. Puts out a couple shots, feels him up a bit. And Mir, he slips into the T-spawn. Now
they're going to feel
suddenly compromised.
They have to feel pressure to execute. And look who's at top mid. coldzera's position is almost useless here. He's got to be very careful to stay alive, and he might not have any impact.
Magix, if he swings, he could knock down everybody through the side of this smoke, but now suddenly they're sent scrambling back. Magix, he overextends into the open, and 3 players from FaZe just staring him in the face. Now it's a man advantage for the T side. I can't believe that they have somehow stabilized.
There's going to be a fight here at top mid potentially. This lurk, it doesn't look like it's being activated just yet because the bomb can get planted. coldzera can potentially tell them no one's coming up catwalk, so that's enormous. He's found a way to have value here when it felt like the CTs were working around him completely. The 2 ops in CT spawn, they're going to have a bit of anxiety coming across these doors, knowing that coldzera is again waiting for him. But will they expect him to just be standing here the whole time? No, he'll knock down over $10,000 in equipment value with that one spray.
Dude, this is an excellent recovery from FaZe Clan.
What went wrong there? There was that push with Long and Magic at the same time, but then they both died.
Yeah, the Long player hits his kill. They go back to fight him. And then as they're clearing out that Long player, because they had to, Magix goes kind of beyond the barrels. There was a moment where they were so clumped up on the corner of CT that Magix could have honestly just skewered all of them with one good spray down. Right. But then he hesitates, Long player hits, they all scramble into different sides of Long. And then when he re-peaks and smoke fades, he is entirely in the open. Now, however, obviously still plenty of map points for Spirit. And even though they've got the lesser weapons, they find a man advantage. We're going to have FaZe Clan walk out from Long. Chopper looking to challenge, but not so much so that he dies to the players as they cross. Could very well just hide behind box if needed. He will do so. They're going to go ahead and take over the bomb site, but the Molotovs call his position out. And he backs up with only 36
How
health.
is he still alive? Oh my god.
Nobody keeping him honest. KRB will clear him from over top of the car, so 4v4. And a great grenade. Brokey and Rain both low, but obviously so little to play with. Spirit, they're going to offer over an 11th. FaZe Clan, I mean, I think this is the nature of the beast. When you have that wounded animal, it's going to fight for its life. and FaZe Clan realize that Spirit have them against the wall.
I don't know what the hell was going on in that first half. They definitely just looked so off. I feel like at this point the game could have been over if they were more themselves. But again, this is Spirit with opportunities to be able to lose rounds and still trip over the finish line. They're still probably feeling pretty comfortable here on CT side. This 11-15 scoreline now. They'll carry forward some guns, pose a threat in what could potentially be another anti-force. No, they'll have enough money to buy for sure. Even the op on SDY. Don't even know if they're retaining a scout. It looks like, yeah, they will keep it on Ida's balance. This is interesting. I actually, it looked like SDY was shooting hot with that op. So there's a chance. Ooh. That looked like it was dead on. Kirby misses that opportunity, and it looks like FaZe are going to take it quickly into B.
Flashbang in the front of SDY, hits the first one. He also has support from the A1S, and now he gets back behind the cover. If they don't get a kill here, this is it. Team Spirit, 5 versus 2. A missed flick shot and a small bit of a recovery, but Kierby, well, he has to peel off. And Launders, this is an awful position. He doesn't have the bomb. 4 players from Spirit just dog piling on top of it. Yeah, he'll get a little bit of a style point, and he almost finds another. But once this smoke grenade fades, I think so does FaZe.
He is in full turret mode, just sitting here waiting. But yes, this is pretty much the map here from FaZe. It would, I don't know, it would take some enormous mistake here from Kirby, and with enough time to spare, he's just going to go ahead and give it his best shot. But eventually, they'll win their duel, and that's FaZe Clan losing the map to a strong Team Spirit, but more of a questionable FaZe than anything else.
A little bit of both, right? I think that when we started off that game, it seemed like it was going to be those incredibly close moments. You mentioned it yourself. We got into that point where it was just Spirit dominating FaZe. And then I'd say there was even a third flavor within this first map to where FaZe are on the rebound. So maybe it was too slow of a start from FaZe Clan, but this was Spirit's map pick. I had high expectations for them on Dust 2. And now what worries me is we move to Mirage, a very similar map. We're going to throw this one away, and we'll be back for the analysis after.
Before the break on Dust 2, we knew FaZe were going to be in flux with everything that's going on in their camp at the moment, but we didn't realize they'd completely lost their identity. Dust 2 is a signature map for this team, and yet where was that signature superstar aggression? Even on their CT side, Launders, they just couldn't win those 2v2 or 3v3 situations.
Every single close situation went awry, and it was basically coldzera was the only one making really key plays. Kirby in the second half more so, but these were few and far between. Team Spirit were the ones to come with the clutch factor in the 2vx situations, to show the good mid-rounding, to show the communication was on point, to hit shots when they weren't supposed to. The Magic's 1v1 versus Brokey, all of those after plant positions on the A site. This was a mix of Team Spirit playing some of their best CS, but also FaZe not looking like themselves at all.
And I have to ask also about Sumdai Young on the flip side, because we mentioned him in the pre-match. We mentioned Magic's, he's the X Factor, but Sumdai Young, he's the difference maker, and he really impressed you here.
Yeah, he absolutely did. I mean, he delivered to, I would say, the standard that he used to set. Team Spirit, the X Factor, right? That's kind of where we label Magic's, but I think Sumdai Young can absolutely be that as well, and this is a great game for that. I like the tenacity, I like the style, I like the character that kind of Team Spirit came into these mid-round moments with. If anybody, it almost looked like they were playing as the favorite, and yes, some of the individuals were punishing them from FaZe, as you would expect, having that level of mechanical skill. Sumdai Young did not seem fazed by his opponent at all.
I like what you did there. In the interview...
That's a real play-by-play moment, Connor.
I enjoyed it. In the interviews with Get Right, I was actually there with Christopher, highly jealous of everyone who got to talk to. He did a fantastic job. And we spoke to each player for about 45 minutes. So there was a lot, sadly, we don't get to show you guys at home. But one of the things Sumdai Young said when Christopher was asking about the fact that Spirit are a highly aggressive team, Sumdai Young was like, oh, well, I think we're very structured, and sometimes I just balance is not aggressive enough. And It seems to be in situations I've noticed from watching them over the past week where iDisbalance really respects the AWPer. In this case with Brocky, he just doesn't seem to be an AWPer that's really threatening them at all.
Yeah, Brokey, he plays it with an AWP. Like, I watched like almost 4 or 5 demos from Brokey recently, and it's every single map, he really is just with the team, playing with the core in the 1-3-1 setups, or moving around the map, never first to open up, never taking an aggressive peek, even with a flashbang to support. And if that's what iDisbalance looks like to the other side, I think if they had Brokey, they'd really get to know what a passive AWPer looks like. I really think Brokey could find more spots for openings. Even though he continues to have impact, I think he could have more. iDisbalance, I did see him buying guns for like 40, 50 seconds into some of those rounds in spawn. But at the same time, on Dust 2, sometimes you do just want to control middle.
Well, we're going to go to Mirage next. And this is something that FaZe has had a few issues with during all the changes, but now they've changed up that B bomb site. Connor, is that something you've noticed being successful?
Yeah, B bomb site's one thing. I also like the fact that we've got Kierby now inside of Connector. You know, that was a position Nico had been playing, and we talked about how Nico had all of the star spots. The beauty of this new FaZe without him is that they get to try and find new solutions. And I like Kierby. Kierby in this first map looked great. So if he's suddenly what they throw at them on Mirage, I think FaZe have a chance to rebound.
Well, we're going to throw ourselves into Mirage just after this short break, so don't go anywhere.